we have a special guest tonight, Nigel Hall, who I've been following for years. And I've met him a couple times, but we've never hung out or whatnot. He may be looking at me right now and going, I think I recognize that guy. But anyways, I'm happy to have him on the show. Wasn't supposed to be here until 8:30, but since we're sitting here talking, I'd love to add him in. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the one and only Nigel Hall? What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, it's good to see
you. I hear you in here talking shit.
No, did you check out Summer of Soul? Did you get an opportunity to see that?
I did. I thought it was amazing. I cried. I cried halfway through. I started crying at the halfway point, and I think I cried all the way through it. So, yeah, that was a really good movie. Me and my wife, we watched it, and it was really good. And then I watched it again the day after with Shmeens, guitar player from Letters. So,
nice.
Nice. We had to watch it a couple times, and
yeah, you can't get. There's so much to take in, especially when you're paying attention to the audience and just kind of watching everything kind of unravel. It's amazing. It's just there's so much there as far as the culturally, just everything that was happening at that time.
Yeah,
and it is kind of shocking. I mean, even though we were just talking about the fact that they were marketing it as it was recorded and put in a basement, never seen, and that's not necessarily true. However, the fact of the matter is the fact that it came out
just like everything else dope black people have ever done in life. Just put in a fucking basement.
Well, and here's the thing, to that point, it's kind of interesting to me. You look at all the people that were in this, Sly and the Family Stone and Stevie Wonder, Mahalia Jackson and the Staple Singers and all these people that were, and we're talking Stevie Wonder pre blow up in the 70s. Not that he wasn't getting bigger, but to see him playing.
But Stevie was already big then. Stevie was way big then. He was a phenomenon even then, before and you got to understand, this was 69. So this was before he had reinvented himself. Stevie Wonder has always kind of been like the Miles Davis of soul music.
Right.
Because he's reinvented himself about 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And change shit up completely. Like he's like, okay, I was listening to a podcast with Greg Fillinganes, who is one of my favorite keyboard players. Greg Fillinganes worked with Stevie Wonder when he was about 19. He started when he was like 18, 19 years old. He started playing with Stevie. Stevie was like 25, 26 because that's around the time Songs of the Key of Life came out.
Right. Yeah,
so, he was talking about Stevie working with the cats who used to, Tonto, the big synthesizer and everything. And they were doing a lot of programming for those records like Music of My Mind and Fulfilling This First Finale. And I see my aunt. What's up, Louise? I see you. We're gonna talk about Louise. I'll tell you a little bit about Louise.
We're gonna talk about a lot of things.
And my wife says hi too. But he started, and then after a certain period, he was just like, I'm not using it no more. I'm just like, when like he was that was his son. He kind of created his shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to do something else, And that's hard for people to do. It's hard. It's real difficult to have one thing and then say, all right, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I can cuss, right? I'm cussing anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Feel free. For those of you just joining us, by the way, we just kind of jumped in because we're talking a little bit about news, and I know this is a topic that is dear to Nigel's heart. Whenever we talk about Stevie Wonder and soul, this is like his realm. But this is Nigel Hall, currently a member of the amazing funk project Lettuce. Many of you guys know Lettuce. He's also played with Soulive. But he's also shared the stage with Starkey Puppy, Dave Matthews Band, Robert Randolph. Warren Haynes Band. I could go on and on. He's been with so many different projects, Kung Fu. It's just it's insane how many people that he's been on the stage with and worked with at various times. But ladies and gentlemen, let me give an accurate and a decent introduction to everyone. Please welcome the amazing artist, keyboardist, and voice like 25,000 thread count Egyptian silk, ladies and gentlemen, Nigel Hall.
I thought that was a decent. I thought the first one was decent enough. You had to go through all that. Other than that necessary. But thank you. I appreciate it. But,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on the show.
And I actually did it.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
Yeah. Damn it.
Damn it.
But I actually did
Like
it.
my cousin say, damn it, man.
I wore my Stevie Wonder shirt. We got songs in the key of life over here. I got music behind over here. I also got new master signs behind me. I know it's got a little bit. You're still in that, still in that.
Somewhere.
But
somewhere.
yeah, man. Yeah, they're in there. They're in there. Come on now. But yeah, man, it's good to see you, man, because you've got this brand new album out, which we're going to be talking about in a second, called Spiritual, and it is friggin' amazing. I am really I was really taken aback when I heard this album, because first solo album, ladies and gentlemen, Nigel Hall, was really, really good, and it had these pieces of really good pieces of soul. But there is a really different continuity to this brand new album that really is just, it's freaking fantastic, and we are going to talk about it in a second. But let's talk about where how you kind of got into the mix your first time, maybe hooking up with Soulive and Krasno and those guys, and kind of giving a little bit of some people who may not be familiar with you, how you got into this particular music genre, because you guys are kind of in a clique really right now, as far as like all these different funk bands that like Soulive and the ones that I mentioned. So kind of give people a little bit of idea of your background and how you came to be where you are right now.
In 2005, I was working at a sandwich shop with my friend John Nato, who is now the guitar player of the massive rock band in LA called Dirty Honey. I was working in a sandwich shop, broke as the fuck, playing at this place called the Big Easy every, I can't even remember. I think it was like every Wednesday I had. They gave me an opportunity to play every Wednesday at a residency. That's where long story short, that's where I met Ryan Zoidis. And
Lettuce, yeah.
Yeah, from Lettuce. And Ryan called Krasno, and at the time I was living in Maine. As you can see, I got the,
probably a shot.
Shout to Andy Dufresne, my friend.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so let me turn this shit. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So yeah, so I was he he's like, yo man, when I met him, he's like, yo, we gotta play together. And I'm like, yeah, we do. And we started playing, and we started he joined my band, and he was like, yo, he called Derek Krasno and told him about me, and Kras called me, and I actually hung up on him because I didn't believe it was him. And and I was like, this ain't Krasno. There's a few interviews that I did online telling that story, but it's definitely a true story. Next time you talk to him, you can ask him about it.
Yeah.
Funny thing is I still hang up on him to this day. But no, he flew me down there. Kras flew me down from Maine to New York, Brooklyn, New York. I had never been on a plane before in my life. He had these songs that he was writing, and he wanted to have a singer for him. And he set aside like 2 or 3 days to do these songs. And we didn't even need that long, because when I went down there, I hit them bitches in one take. Them bitches was done.
Man, whenever I see you live, you just have this unbelievable flow, and it's just I maybe I haven't seen you enough, but I mean, every single time, I mean, you just have this. I just don't understand how you haven't blown up at this point. Really, to be totally honest.
You know what? To be totally honest, I got to be honest with you, man. I'm enjoying right where I am right now. I'm not saying that I'm not going to not take whatever's given to me or whatever sort of. But I'm comfortable right now. My children are grown. They got everything that they need. My wife is happy. I'm happy.
There you go.
My bills are paid. That's all. I'm making music. I get to play music with my friends every day.
Right.
That's all the fuck I need. I don't need nothing else because I've had that before and it's gotten me into so much trouble that I'm just now getting out of it. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm good with everything that I got right now.
Yeah.
You know, I learned to be grateful, and look, I woke up today, I'm vertical. That's all I care about.
That's my go-to line when somebody asks me how I'm doing. I said,
I'm fucking vertical.
I woke up this morning.
I'm vertical. I'm not horizontal. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So, and I've seen you kind of in random spots, and I never saw you kind of settle in with the band. Every time I saw you, you were with somebody different. And I think probably the third or fourth time I saw you, you were with the Nth Hour, and you were working with, Nick Casarino and those guys. I mean, what a voice. I mean, that guy, holy cow. But Kevin gave me a little bit of thoughts about what's going on with what may have happened with Nth Power, because I mean, do you feel like it maybe got too experimental? Because it seemed like whenever you were performing songs, the band had a certain feel and vibe to it, and whenever Casarino was doing things, it was really kind of there was a whole different thing going on. So, and then of course, I look and I see Nikki Glaspie, and I'll see her playing with Dumpster Funk, and now she's touring with Imani. And so, is Nth Power pretty much done, or is that something that will come back around later?
I think it's definitely. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I think it's definitely something that's going to come back here in a couple of soon. In fact, I talked to Nikki today, and we're actually making plans to do a couple of reunion shows with Nth Power. So
nice. Good job.
So we haven't completely shut the door on that, because I think it's something that all of us, I think we all want to continue very, very badly. I just think that during the time that we were doing it, I think it was just a lot that we all were dealing with individually. With great power comes great responsibility, and that band was powerful. Yeah, and I just don't think that I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I know for me at the time, I don't know that I was of the right mind to have that kind of power. So things happened the way that they did, and that's how it happens sometimes. You fly too close to the sun, and you get burned. But it's definitely not something that. It's definitely something that's going to happen again for sure. Definitely. Well, we got it on the books, and it's something that I'm very, very excited to do in the next coming months. So
yeah,
guys, look out for it. It's definitely going to happen again for sure.
Huge collective of amazing musicians. I mean, Weedy and those guys. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I know some of the folks that are listening here, are hardcore Prince fans and whatnot. And we actually have a little bit of an inward discussion possibly about Prince. I don't know if you have any Prince stories, but I did happen to notice that there is a song on your new album that features Patrice Rushen on it, who some people may or may not know was the muse for Prince's song "I Want to Be Your Lover." So we'll actually. Let me see if I've got this up. If I load it up here.
I see why, because she's still fine as shit. As old she is now. Not old, but I don't mean that.
Yeah, no, this is a little clip of "Baby I Do Love You," and it's like, I mean, what an amazing track. I mean, the whole album is just fantastic. Kind of want to give people a little taste of what's going on. And listen to that voice right there. So tell me how exactly you got tied up with, well, not tied up. I mean, I know your wife doesn't want to hear that, but how exactly you started working with Patrice Rushen. What about that?
Okay, well, there's two stories about that particular song. Well, I'll answer your question first. Jameson Ross is a drummer he's from Florida, but he lives here in New Orleans,
Mhm.
and he played with me for a time, and him and I began to get together, and we got to hanging out, talking, and whatnot, playing together. Come to find out, he played with Patrice Rushen. Now, I was in Los Angeles playing at the Mint with Empower when he was across town at the Blue Whale playing with Patrice Rushen. And I knew this before we left to go out on tour because he was over my house. Him and I were over here at the house listening to records and, drinking and whatnot and having a little talk.
Right.
And so I gave him one of my records to have her to sign. Lo and behold, I was in LA the night that he was going to have her sign this. So I was like, fuck that. I'm going to go over there. and I just finished my sound check. I was feeling myself because I had two Rhodes pianos with me at the time, and I had them both serviced, and they both played like they were brand new. So I'm sitting there at the sound check like, which pair of shoes am I going to wear today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to pick the Rhodes out. I'm going to have a quick sound check. Nikki knew I had to go and handle that. So I did. And I went over there, and she was like, and I saw her, and Jameson introduced me to her, and like I couldn't talk. She was like, "Hold up, bro," because I know who you are, and I know how dope you are, and like she just rained down compliments, and just like she knew who I was, and made me feel really, really good. And since then we've kept in contact this whole time. And I talked to her during the pandemic. I was like, "Listen, I'm doing this song." Now that song was originally going to be on Ladies and Gentlemen, the last record.
Really? Okay.
And on that version, I had Deitch on drums, Charlie Hunter on bass and guitar, and Bill Summers on percussion. But it didn't make the record. So I said, all right, I have to do this. I have to do this again. But and I had a few takes of me playing. Well, there were a couple of takes where I played keys. And it was all right. I didn't really have to give it up. But man, I was like, hold up. Let me just call Patrice.
Listen to that run.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not doing that. So I called Patrice. I was like, Patrice, can you do this for me? And she's like, yeah, of course I'll do it. And then, we talked. And she's like, man, look, I got you. Don't even worry. So it was all good. And so Patrice is like auntie. I call her auntie now. You know what I mean? Like her and I, we talk quite a bit. And I'm just really fortunate. A lot of the reason why I know about Patrice Rushen is because of my Aunt Louise. My Aunt Louise had all the records when I was growing up. Between her and my mother, we had every Patrice Rushen album ever. And I grew up with her being a huge fan of hers. So that record that I got, I don't know. I just pulled it off the wall today because my wife and I, we packing up, we moving. But I just pulled it off the wall today. But it's the back of an album cover of a record she did called Before the Dawn, and it's her on the back, and she's like 18 years old. And I swear to God, she looked like a baby with a big ass afro, and she signed it for me. And yeah, Patrice, that's auntie.
Well, and Prince was apparently really smitten with her back in the day. And do you have any Prince stories?
I do not have any Prince stories.
But now you do. Now you do through Patrice because of the fact that her and Prince hung out on a regular.
Actually, you know what? I do have a Prince story. Now that I think about it, I didn't see him or nothing like that. But I was on tour with Warren Haynes, and I was in Copenhagen, and then we had played this place in Copenhagen, and we had just gotten done, and we were back on the bus, and they rushed us off the stage because Prince was playing in Copenhagen, and he was going to come back to the place that we was playing and going to have a jam session. So they rushed us off the stage, and they had all our roadies moving shit as fast as they could, and I was going to go back out and go and check them out and see him. and I was rushing, and Terrence Higgins was with me, and I was rushing, and I got off of I jumped off of the bus, and I broke my ankle, and I ended up not going to see Prince because I was pissed.
Oh no!
And I had to get pushed through the airport in Copenhagen in a wheelchair by Ron Johnson, and that's how I came home, and I was on crutches for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then I got another one as I was in, and again, it didn't see him, but it was Jazz Fest one year, and we was playing at the Blue Nile. Oh my God, I was hammered. Prince's people was in the crowd. It's like Prince had all his musicians, because he was in town.
Yep.
Playing. And he had all his musicians in town just going out to different places, just doing recon and shit. You know? And like, I guess he had one of his people out in the crowd and said, FaceTime. And it FaceTimed me, and it was looking at me playing and everything. And they came up to me, and the dude was there, and I recognized one of the dudes that played with Prince. He was like, I just got off the phone with Prince. He said he wants you to come to Paisley Park. And I was so drunk, I was like, man, get the fuck out of my face, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, those are my Prince.
Oh my God. You missed opportunities, man. Missed opportunities. It is what it is, though.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
But I
don't go with it drunk.
That's right. There are pieces of your first album, ladies and gentlemen, like songs like Try, 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 that are very similar to the feel of your newest album, Spiritual. Mm-hmm. But there's also a Philly Motown thing going on that album that's really different. But kind of talk about what are the differences between your first album and this one. What are the primary differences in how you were approaching it? Because it's while there are very, very similar things besides your voice and your playing style, this album is really different from the first. So what happened? What was the main difference here?
All right. Well, let me start with telling you a little secret. This actually is my third record.
Right.
You had number 3. Yeah, I know. I was like this, but this is 3. Okay. I actually had one record before those two that is out of print, and no one can find it, and thank God. The difference between Ladies and Gentlemen and Spiritual is real simple. When I did Ladies and Gentlemen, I was working with Eric Krasno, really my close friend. That's my brother, But he'll tell you that I fought him tooth and nail on everything because I'm a person who knows what I want when it comes to music. But the thing that I learned about making records from Eric Krasno was that there's a time and a place for everything, and you can't just I can't just go. You can't just mix something up in a bowl you can't just have all the ingredients, right, and mix them in a bowl and then serve the bowl. Like, you got to cook it, and you got to season it, and you got to present it. You got to cut it up. You got to let it set. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's layers to this shit. So
yeah, there was a lot of different things going on. Like when I was talking about, like for instance, I was listening. One of my favorite tracks off of this new album is a track called "The Sun," mm-hmm. And I'll play a little bit of "The Sun" here. And just everything that was going on as far as the sound, the soul, the way it's just it's something about the way that you put this one together has a very, very soulful 70s vibe to it that you must have seasoned the shit out of this song. There must have been a lot, because there's also like dialogue and conversation at the end of it that really kind of gives it that Marvin Gaye type of feel, that party vibe. So you did a lot of different things in there that is pretty amazing. So so you kind of feel like one of the main primary differences really is that you had time to kind of come in there and do that seasoning, kind of knead that dough and do all that.
Right. A lot of it had to do with me. With this record, I had full, complete control over what I wanted to do and how I wanted to present it. And not to mention, it wasn't just me. I want to shout out DJ Harrison because first of all, DJ Harrison from Butcher Brown is my twin. When you see him, you see me, and it's creepy when we get together because we like finish each other's sentences and shit. And when we're playing music, it's the same thing as we're finishing each other's sentences, and we know instinctively where we want to go. And so, going back into what I was saying about the last record is I learned from Eric Krasno how to produce and present a meal, a project. I produced this plate to you of this music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This one with this record, I was able to do that in a way where like I learned how to do it. And I knew exactly how to put this in front of you and how to present this to you so that it could be appetizing, so you would want to eat it. You know?
Right.
So I mean, it's just really that simple. I didn't hold any punches on this record. The last record though, I felt as though I was trying to prove something. I had something that I needed to prove to let the world know I was here. On this record, I don't really care that you know that. I mean, I do in a sense, but at the end of the day, I made this particular record spiritual for me, and I think that because I had that in mind, it came out the way that it did, and it's having the impact that it's having on people. So. That's all I like I said to you earlier. I don't want any more than I already have. You know what I mean? So that I think this record exemplifies that to the best of its ability.
I'm gonna be honest, Nigel. I don't think you're gonna have a choice, man, because I think this album.
We all got choices.
No, I think this album is gonna strike because I really do because just the overall sound. I actually put up a link. For you guys for if you want to listen to this album, you can listen to it on Spotify. Much rather you go out and actually get it on Amazon or buy it on Nigel Hall official.
It's on vinyl for all you vinyl heads.
Yeah, it's on vinyl too. Because it is there. It is right there. Because it is a really fantastic. And also another thing that I see quite a bit also is the huge Stevie Wonder influence. I've seen you do a couple Stevie Wonder focus shows, the one with Kung Fu, as you guys did, where you kind of pick stuff from his career. There was another show that I saw years ago. It was an outdoor event, and I think you were doing songs in the key of life, or maybe it was Intervisions. I can't remember. It was some album or something that you did in its entirety. It was an outdoor show. And so obviously Stevie Wonder is a massive, massive influence on you. And even in songs like, for instance, songs like People in Search of a Life, this one here. I mean, this has 70s Stevie Wonder all over it. It's just the vibe of it, the flow of it, the chord structure, the changes, the harmonies, everything about it has Stevie Wonder all over it. So, Kat, tell me exactly where this all kind of came in for you as far as you're like, some people focus on a specific artist, and it seems like every time you're covering somebody, it's almost always Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, I don't know if it's almost always Stevie Wonder. I think that Donny Hathaway is my favorite singer.
Wow.
And since we're on the subject, let me just say it, because a lot of people won't say it. If it wasn't for Donny Hathaway, we would not have had the singer that Stevie Wonder is today. I'm not disrespecting Stevie. I'm not taking anything away from Stevie. Stevie's a fucking genius. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
And I am not at all negating that and taking away from anything that Stevie Wonder has ever done. But Stevie know what the real shit is too. And when Stevie heard when he heard "Everything Is Everything" and came out in 1971, he became. And you listen to Stevie Wonder from Talking Book on. Stevie Wonder was a completely different singer. Now you tell me if I'm lying or not.
No, that's you're right. You're absolutely right. And that was about the same time that.
Because if you keep in mind, Stevie Wonder did not put a record out from 1970 to 1971. He did not put a record out. The last record he put out was "My Sherry Amore," which was, I want to say, sorry, not that. Where I'm Coming From. That was the last record he put out before he put out Talking Book. And you listen to that. And listen to him sing on "Take Up a Course in Happiness" and I never dreamed you leaving summer. You listen to that, and then you listen to Talking Book on, and then you hear a completely different singer. So a lot of where my vocal inspiration comes from Donny Hathaway. And like I said, if it wasn't for Donnie, there wouldn't have been no Stevie. And if Donnie is my go-to, then Stevie's easy to do. You know, but again, I need y'all to understand that I don't want people to be like, oh, Nigel on there talking shit about Stevie Wonder, blah 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 blah. You know, I ain't scared of Stevie. You can't see me anyway. So, but on the same token, Stevie changed the game for a lot of that stuff, but Donnie never got the credit because nobody really knows a lot about Donny Hathaway, and not until recently. Donnie didn't come to any sort of fruition until recently because of his daughter Layla, who sounds creepily just like him. She's amazing. I love Layla Hathaway.
Oh yeah.
You know, and a lot of Frank McComb is another one who sounds just like that motherfucker. You know, somebody else too. I can't think of his name right now. But there are a lot of people just now really getting on the Donnie thing and realizing that Donnie is a source of a lot of people, not just Stevie Wonder. I'm talking about George Benson. Okay, you listen to George Benson.
Yep.
Same shit. You know, but Stevie is obviously one of my favorites, and he will always be one of my favorites because of his genius. You know,
yeah.
But Donnie just had this thing where Donnie had the stained glass voice, and there wasn't no voice, and there's no voice that I've ever heard that can match that.
Yeah,
and you know.
And the reason
Stevie will always be Uncle Stevie, but Stevie won't be able to match it either.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring up Stevie is because some of the production that you do on some of these songs is really eerily similar to a lot of the stuff, a lot of the vibe, that kind of. And I don't know, I don't know if it's an analog type, you know, what some of the stuff you were using, but just it's just eerily similar production quality to some of that stuff, like Intervisions and stuff. It's just so.
I wanted to go back. I wanted to make a shit. Not just now. I mean, I really went back for Ladies and Gentlemen, but this particular record, like I said, I went to Jellystone, the world famous Jellystone Studios, in Richmond, Virginia, which is Butcher Brown's studio, and I'm all about vintage gear, bro. Like the instruments got to be at least 20 years older than I am, but we ain't used to. You know, I'm really all about that sound, man. And that's how you get it. And you know, I appreciate an out-of-tune clavinet a little bit, and you know, a buzzy Fender Twin, or you know what I'm saying, a Rhodes with the pickups. Rhodes, it sounds like it's been dropped down the stairs a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like there's something about these instruments that have their own character. You know, that have been they've been through the ringer. You know, just Absolutely. Like I have. And I want seriously, like I want to have an instrument that I can dig into that will express life the same way I intend to express it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
No, it does.
it definitely that's definitely how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of funk artists, especially the ones nowadays, like the new Master Sounds, Orgone, they when they go into the studio, they do try to replicate that sound, to replicate that production quality, kind of making sure that the strings that they use on their guitars and everything is just as close as possible to that whole, just to kind of be able to recreate that vibe. And sometimes you can, even if you use that equipment, it still has to be produced correctly, because it can just erase everything.
Right.
There's not a lot of bands that can use that equipment and still get that sound on the album. Your album does a fantastic job of doing that. So hats off to
you very much.
Work on that. Fantastic job of doing that. Last time I remember an album that was that close would probably be Orgone's On the Killing Floor. That's probably, yeah, probably. It's not a whole bunch of albums that can really capture that sound. Man. Let's talk about a couple more tracks on here, because I don't want to hold you up all night, but I do want.
Man, I'm having a great time, man. Let's hang out.
Talking a little bit about. Let's talk about Change Directions. That one's kind of a little bit of a standout track on this album. Nothing on the album really sounds like this one. It's got. You definitely have there's definitely some attitude going on here. You definitely had some things to say. We've been hanging out with Robert Randolph quite a bit.
Oh man!
About that. Here we go.
Okay. Don't get me started.
This song definitely stood out because it's definitely stands on its own, because there's nothing that really pairs well. Kind of give me a little bit of background on this song called Change Direction.
I mean, play it.
I mean, this stuff is just. It's God, man. So go ahead now and talk all your shit, because it's not gonna pull the all chat. It's just. So fuck off. This is it, man. It does. I was just about to say that it's got a funkadelic vibe to it. Really type of
Shout out to B Gets. What's up, B Gets? I see you out there shining. I see you out there, son.
And Brian Carbo feels like it's early Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz a little bit more raw, but not like he didn't really use a whole bunch of.
Lenny Kravitz cares about what people think about it.
This is true. Let love rule. Thank you so much, man. My man Brian said he just ordered the vinyl.
Yes, Brian. Thank you for ordering the vinyl, man. We need that.
Yeah, that is.
It sounds so good on vinyl too. I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah, you can actually, you can actually hear the crackle even on a CD. Yeah. It's got that sound. That whole vibe is just unfriggin' believable. And B also just that's the wrong one. B also shared. There's a bonus track that's vinyl only. Okay, so tell us about this bonus track that's hidden on this vinyl.
It was a song that I wrote I wrote with some friends of mine, very, very close friends of mine. Actually, they did most of the writing. I just kind of did some arranging of it, but we did it a long time ago. And during the time that we were recording the record, it was just, I don't know how it came back to me, but I was just listening to something that I got a bunch of music on my hard drive that I was just listening to shuffle, and it came up, and I was like, oh shit, what if we did that song? So it's a song called Words, and it's just about being, you know what I mean? It's just like, sometimes it's hard for us to live in our own skin. And it's it's a struggle every day. trying to just get through the fucking day. And these are words. Oh Lord, my friend Roderick Pinckney, who says words. Now let me tell you a little something about Roderick Pinckney. No. Listen to this. This is great. Roderick Pinckney was in the very first band that I was ever in my entire life, and he was the bass player of this band. And the name of the band was called the Funkazone. Yes, and
The
it was
Funkazone?
the Funkazone. Funkizon. And man, I'm telling you, it was we were some wild ones, man. But just so anybody who sees him type shit, it's basically all inside jokes. So you guys will be like, what the fuck is this dude saying? I got it. It's fine. I'll deal with him later. I love that guy. That's my brother. But yeah, the song "Words" is about just getting through the day and just trying to it's very it comes from a real place.
Yeah.
In my life, so yeah.
I also want to talk about. A little bit about the song called "Brothers Love," which was a song that was, I guess, is dedicated to Kofi Burbridge.
Yes.
And another one of his amazing songs. For those who are not familiar with Kofi, he was with the Tedeschi Trucks Band. Just an amazing player that he polished the sound of pretty much everything that he touched. What is and this just sounds like it just kind of fell off of a Stanley Clarke jazz track. I mean, it's got such a great friggin' vibe. It's just everything about this album. Just if you had gotten this album and I just found somebody who didn't know anything about music and I said, check out this album from the 70s, they would absolutely believe me just because of everything the whole vibe of this album is just so fantastic. But to kind of go back to talk about Burbridge a little bit, what is your relationship with him, and what obviously you're paying homage to him here, but what's your story with him?
Kofi was one of my closest friends, man.
Really?
One of my closest friends. Me and Kofi have seen the edge together. And that was my man. That more than he was more than being someone who I looked up to as a musician. That was my fucking friend. He knew me when I was down and out, and he never counted me out because I was down. And he would always pick me up and help me brush myself off, and keep it moving. And I learned so much from him as a person, and as I'm fortunate enough to have been able to call him a friend, like a friend. He was originally supposed to be on this record, and he didn't make it. And I'm just getting to the point now where I could even talk about this song without crying. But that's my brother, and I love him dearly, and I just really hope I made him proud. But this is something that we always. This particular song is derived from a Cannonball Adderley song that we would always listen to when we were on tour, because I was in the original and in the first installment of Tedeschi Trucks. So Kofi and I, we hung out. I think that's when our whole real relationship kind of started. And I miss my friend. That song's for my friend.
Yeah, it's everything about, and of course you got a message from George Duke on here. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Well, I was a young man trying to no, I'm just I had a radio station. I had a radio show on and Roderick can attest to this. He'll hear this. I had a radio show called Behind the Groove in Maine, and on the college station. And I was fortunate enough one day to interview him, and I got to interview him, and I have no clue. 91.9 WMEB, that's right. I have no clue where that whole interview is. I have no clue. But I had this track made. I made this track a long time ago. And I mean, that the track that's on the record of with me singing and playing behind this interview. This was about 10 years ago that I did that track. So I've been sitting on that for 10 years. And I can't for the life of me find the whole thing, but that was exactly how I felt the record needed to be shut down. And George Duke is my hero. George Duke is the reason I'm a musician, and I felt it necessary to share that with the world. I mean and another reason too is a good friend of mine I was talking to was like, "Yo, man, you should put that on your record." And I was just like mind blown because I don't know why I didn't think about that at first. But then also, Deitch on the end of his record, he had like a message from Mike Clark. So yeah, I figured since we flexing on people, let me put.
Who's gonna one up you from there?
I mean,
how do you one up
that? How do you one up George Duke from the grave?
You can't
do that. So,
oh my God, another one of my favorite tracks on this album, and we'll kind of wrap things up a little bit, but is "Gotta Go to Work." Oh my God, "Gotta Go to Work," dude. This song is amazing, man. What a great freaking track. Every single song on this album is just fantastic. I could highlight every single track on here.
Thank you.
And it's just, it's, this song, immediately when I heard it, reminded me of D'Angelo. I'm sorry. The second I heard it, I was like, it just sounds like, it's just got that D'Angelo vibe.
Hey man, that's how it made you feel, brother. It's all right.
It is. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's got that Questlove production type.
Well, let me just add to that. Yellowstone and Butcher Brown guys. Shout out to Butcher Brown. Like Butcher, this record would not have been half as dope if it had been anybody else. I want to shout out Butcher Brown. This record, I'm telling you, those are my brothers, and I fucking love each and every one of them. But I just want to say that Richmond, Virginia, is the home of Butcher Brown and the home of D'Angelo. So that's D'Angelo put Richmond on the map. So as far as being a music place, again, like Biguette says, it's just another nod to D'Angelo. D'Angelo's a genius. He's our Sly. He's our generation's Sly. Yeah. So, I'm telling you, there's a lot. I was telling somebody earlier that there's a lot worse things to be compared to.
Oh no, absolutely.
D'Angelo, you know what I mean? So hey man, I love that. I mean, you could have said it sounded like Weird Al Yankovic. I'm not sure how that fits, but okay.
If I can listen to an album first time around, normally if I can listen to an album first time around and like it the first time around, and I'm getting vibes, D'Angelo vibes, I'm getting Stevie Wonder vibes, I'm getting Donny Hathaway vibes, I'm getting, all those Mayfield vibes, all that stuff is just all just mixed in, and it's just you layer that in with great production, and man, what a friggin' amazing album. Tell me about some of the other play. I know you Ryan Zoidis was on here for like a really brief 1 minute period.
He's actually on 2 tracks of that record. Actually,
yeah. So that's what I was going to ask. Tell me about some of the other players that are on this album, besides the guests like Ryan Zoidis and Patrice Rushen and Marcus King and those guys.
Okay, well, you want me to talk about Butcher Brown? because I mean that's really basically the rest of the people.
Really?
I mean, it's Butcher Brown, it's Corey Fonville on drums, DJ Harrison on whatever the fuck he felt like playing that day, because he can play every damn thing just like me.
Right.
Andy Randazzo on bass, brother Morgan Burrs on guitar, Marcus Tinney on trumpet, saxophone, and then me, and then that was it. Aside from the guests, you know, we I mean, you got to understand too. Like, I didn't really come up with the idea to have guests on. In fact, I got to be honest with you. They had to fight me tooth and nail to put guests on here because I was like, "Fuck that! I don't need to do that." I didn't, and at the time, I didn't need to do it. But now I'm obviously very glad that I did, and I was like, "Okay, well, if I'm gonna have guests on here, I'm gonna have the people who know me and aren't going to fight me."
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, in the sense of like, you know, who see where this is going and who I know that I can call to do the thing that I need them to do. And they ain't even got to take all day to do it. They can do it one time. Just like that track that you playing right now. When I sent that to Zoidus, he was in the right frame of mind to get it done. I sent that to him, and as long as that song is, it took him to do that and send it back to me. And that was the one take that I took, and it was perfect. Everybody did that.
What's the other song is Zoidus is on?
The other song that he's on is a song called "When I Die."
Oh yeah, the last song on there, or
next to the last song. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is "When I Die." Yeah, it's just. I mean, this is just like Fifth Dimension shit. I mean, it's like you're just like tapping into friggin' everything. Motown. It's just.
Well, I want to be clear. I only do songs that I can relate to as a person.
Right.
Whether I write it or whether it's someone else's, if I can't really truly 150% relate to that song, if that song can't make me cry before I sing it or before I play it, I'm not doing it. Just not. You know, these are songs that resonate with me. These are all songs that I did that, you know, like I said, these are things that I was working through in my own. I was working through some shit.
Right.
And there was some shit that I needed to recognize and some shit I needed to let go. And these songs helped me to do that. And music as a whole helps me to do that. And when the music isn't doing that anymore, then there's a problem. So I wanted to make sure that every song that I did on this record is a song that I know does something for me and my spirit. Every time I listen to it and every time I sing it and perform it, it needs to do that for me. Now, if it does that for you, then praise God. But the priority is for doing it for me, because it's not going to do it for you if it don't do it for me.
Right. No, absolutely. And I know that, you know, during the pandemic, you know, you haven't, you know, it's been good to kind of get this recording process out of the way, but, you know, now bands are finally starting to get back on the road. So, you know, I know you kind of been doing a lot of, you know, a lot of people see you do a lot of pop-up appearances and stuff. I mean, I think, your current touring, are you going to be touring to support this album, or are you going to be touring with Lettuce, or are you guys kind of shift? How exactly is your touring going to be going to support some of the stuff?
Man, I got to be honest, bro. I have no fucking clue at this point. Like, you know, we're still in COVID times, really, to be honest. And there's a lot happening, man. This new Delta fucking shit's happening. And, like, I got dates on my schedule to do with Lettuce. I don't really have anything to do with my stuff yet. We're working on that right now, but who's to say that tomorrow there won't be something new fucking mutant fucking, you know, people are still fucking, it's still very much dangerous fucking outside. It is.
It is.
And
so are you not touring right now?
I'm sorry?
Are you not touring at all right now?
Oh, I'm touring. I mean, I'm playing with Lettuce and whatnot. You know, I'm doing Lettuce dates, but you know, shit's getting weird, man. It's staying weird.
for those who are just tuning in, obviously we're sitting here with amazing artist Nigel Hall, and this album is fire, dude. I'm telling you, it's
Thank you.
for those who are into vinyl, you absolutely have to pick up this album on vinyl because I can only imagine what it sounds like. I'm going to have to pick it up. Brian's already ordered it, but I'm telling you, this album is just fantastic. Because now I'm going to be adding it into. I'm definitely going to be adding it into the radio playlist because we have an online radio station, and we play lots of funk and R&B and soul all throughout the day. Huge Prince blocks and whatnot. So I'm definitely going to put this in the rotation. Absolutely, have to. I have to. Yeah, it is fire. Yeah, absolutely. Brian says fire for sure. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Brian.
Man, it's just
and I will be coming to Portland with Lettuce on the September 10th, 5 days before my birthday. So I'll probably be celebrating still.
There you go, Brian. So you got you absolutely see all that. Yeah, man. I've just been psyched to get you on the show, man, for sure, because I don't remember who I was reaching out to try to get you on the show before. Maybe I was going through the wrong avenues or whatever, but I'm glad I was finally able to get you on the show because I've been following you for years, and I love, especially going to some of the Bear Creek music festivals and some of the random festivals and seeing you hop on stages with the various bands, man. It's just like, God bless, man. It's just fantastic to kind of see you just kind of do your thing, and you just kind of feel completely comfortable as long as you're on stage and behind a keyboard. You're like, screw it, it's on.
Yeah.
It's on, and it's a
shit. It better be on if I'm in front of all them goddamn people.
It's and to be blessed enough to be able to do what you love and be able to do it for a living, man. That's just. That's a lot, and to do it as well as you do, that's also another thing.
Thank you very much.
The new album is called Spiritual. Absolutely positive. This has been this down here has been scrolling. You can find out information on his website at nigelhallofficial.com, also on facebook.com/the Nigel Hall. Listen, again, it's great to have you on the show. Let me know when you're in Atlanta. I'd love to come check you guys out again. I know that Lettuce is coming through. I think we're on the list. I have to look to see. I think you guys just updated the list with more dates. I think. Did I miss it? I hope I didn't miss it.
Yeah, I mean, we got dates until the end of the year, I believe. So,
Andre's giving my case. Chris just swore. Yeah, it's whatever.
Man, hey, man, we out here. We adults.
We're adults.
Adults swear. Hey, I just want y'all to know. I know Zoidus is part of me. I know I said fuck Zoidus, but I mean that in like the most endearing way ever. I want y'all to know Zoidus is my brother. So y'all just need to know that's my name.
The album is called Spiritual by Nigel Hall. Absolutely, you guys got to go get this. This album is just again, the album is fire, dude. I'm telling you, it's if you don't go and pick up this album, I'm gonna cut. I'm just gonna hunt all you down. You got to get it.
That's a lot of hunting.
That's a lot of hunting. I'm telling you. Matter of fact, at some point during the night, I'll make sure that we get a vinyl or a CD of Spiritual out to one of you fine folks at the rest of Funkatopia live show. So one of you guys is going home we're going to help the album at some point tonight. So Nigel, awesome. I appreciate it so much, brother. I can't tell you how much I enjoy it. You guys
thank you so much.
Facebook.com/the Nigel Hall, or of course you can just go to his website, which is probably better. NigelHallofficial.com. Get that vinyl.
Thank you. Shout out to my Aunt Louise. I love you. I see you out there. I'll hit you later on tonight.
You didn't tell us the Louise story. You said you were going to tell us.
Oh, you want to hear a Louise story?
I was going to let you go, but you got to do the Louise story.
All right, I'll tell you a Louise story. I'll tell you like a more recent one. Do you want to? I'll give you a more recent one. Okay. My Aunt Louise, she has a ton of records in her house. She has a ton of records in her house. And she's like, no, I know, it's all good. And she has a ton of records in her house, but like you pull in the driveway and they're right up against the wall. And I've been begging her for these records for years and years and years, and she's just like, no, 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 no. And she delights, I think, in telling me no, that I'm not going to get those records. Mostly because my cousin is a DJ, and they probably going to be his first. But she did tell me she's going to whip my ass, like physically hands, if I asked her again. And though she's much older than me, I'm very, very scared of that. So I'm not going to ever ask her again. So that one I think is a good enough one to leave with. So I got
well, and I did mean to ask you too. I think I'd read somewhere that
but she is also, real quick, not to cut you off. No. But Louise, the reason I love my aunt so much is because she was, when I was young, she always saw how weirded I was, and she was always the one to be like, "Fuck them, do you?" You know what I mean? And she was always the one to help encourage me and support me in embracing my own weird, so that I could be an individual rather than be a robot like everybody fucking else was. And she saw that in me, and she, along with my mother, really helped me to be the person that I am today. So that's why I fuck with Louise like I do. So
yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I read a story somewhere that said that your father had like this massive vinyl collection that you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
Is he still with us?
Yep, my dad is still with us. He's still actually he was down here. He was down here in New Orleans for the first time ever about 2 weeks ago, and it was hard to get him to leave. No, I was kidding. No, but yeah, he was there, and he had a massive record collection between Louise, my father, and my mother. I had everything. I grew up with everything, like all kinds of music, which is why there's so much in my music. It's because everything I do is a reflection of how I grew up. And it is a direct reflection of how I grew up. So
I was always shocked too, because with all this sound and vibes that you have from the 60s and 70s, and you weren't even born in the 60s and 70s.
No.
You were born, what, 1981 or something?
Don't worry about when I was born. I'm here.
It's crazy to me.
No, I was born September 15th, 1981.
You have such an old soul, and the music that is coming through you is so well versed and just listen to Louise. Just keep doing you. Just keep doing you.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Nigel, it's been amazing having you on the show. I hope everybody had a great time. And sir, I will check you later. Keep in touch.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Nigel, thank you so much. Everybody, see you later.